guys, and welcome to TechteamGB. This video is a kind of repeat of the one that I did last year, where I'm mostly going to be checking out and talking about the products that I've reviewed this year that I think really stand out as just utterly fantastic. I did ask you guys a couple of weeks ago what your favourite tech of the year has been, and I will be including that in just as I'm going through, so do stick around for that too. I think the first thing to talk about has to be graphics cards. It's been an incredible year for GPUs, and obviously next year with Vega launching is going to be very interesting as well, but this year with the 1060, 1070 and 1080 launching, it's been just absolutely fabulous. The GTX 1070 does win my kind of main tech of the year for graphics cards award. I think I'm leaning towards the Strix card, the Strix 1070, especially because that video has 120,000 views, which is incredible. The MSI Gaming X card is also pretty awesome as well, and I think technically I'm going to give two sort of GPU of the year awards out here. The RX 480 definitely deserves an award here. It's a graphics card that for me has just kept on giving, especially with the driver updates and more games coming out with DX12. It's absolutely fantastic, and while you know we did have a few issues at the start with the power draw being more than 150 watts when you only had a 6-pin power connector for the reference cards, especially the add-in cards like ASUS's one, the XFX and Sapphire models as well, they're all fantastic, and as I said, they're kind of the gift that keeps on giving at the moment, and hopefully that will continue with Vega next year as well. I think the logical step forward would probably be monitors here, and I think for me my favourite monitor that I've reviewed this year is the LG 27UD68P. That's the 4K IPS monitor that sits at around about £400, at least at the time of filming anyway, and it's just absolutely fantastic. It's a beautiful monitor to look at. Yes, it has glossy plastic on the back, but that's kind of the main, in fact the only downside besides just being not, £1 and everyone can have one. So as I said, it is just a very nice monitor to use, to look at, to play games on, and I believe it's HDCP 2.2 ready as well, so if you want to use it for your 4K Netflix, you can. I think the runner-up for me with the monitor here is going to be the AOC 4K monitor. It's about £100 less expensive, at least in the UK and at the time of filming anyway, but it's the monitor that I still use for most of my testing. It's actually really fantastic, obviously still getting 4K. It's a really great value for money as well, and while being TN and viewing angles aren't quite perfect and it's not quite as beautiful to look at, it is still a very nice monitor. On the same train of thought as monitor, I think the HTC Vive has to get my personal award for the best VR headset of the year. Even though Oculus does have the touch controllers, first of all, I haven't actually played with those, so I can't give you my full opinion on that. I also haven't played with PSVR either, but from all of the many sources of information that I've gathered here, the Vive is still the best overall actual experience. Of course, it's still the most expensive, although once you pick up the Oculus Rift and that extra camera, if you want the touch controllers along with the sort of 360 experience, then you're looking at basically the same price there, and obviously the PSVR is still less expensive, but doesn't track as well, doesn't have the best, in fact has very limited motion, if any, besides sort of slight sitting down forward and back. You certainly don't have full room scale anyway, so that is, for me the Vive is just an excellent experience, and I do believe that they are planning on bringing out a new type of controller as well that's somewhat similar to the Rift's touch controller, so that'll be interesting to see. Moving on to laptops, I think my favourite laptop of the year, especially the favourite laptop that I've actually reviewed this year, is the MSI GS63 VR. It's an absolutely fantastic laptop. The power that you can get from laptops now with the 10 series GPUs in them is just absolutely incredible, and of course you can run full VR setups if you're interested. Of course they do have their VR1 setup if you're interested in that, and I did a full video on it just as a sort of showcase. That's quite an interesting proposition, especially because there's a few wireless solutions for the Vive and that sort of thing, so that one's quite interesting, but as I said, the laptop itself is quite cool. In terms of viewer submissions for laptops, I had a couple of suggestions that the MacBook Pro, the new 2016 model, should be the best, especially the ones with the touch bar, and while I haven't actually tested them myself, not only does the price deter me from giving this an actual award, this is I guess technically the viewer award if you like, but for me that the price, and specifically the fact that they removed all the ports including the SD card slots, and also there is a limit on how much RAM you can have. They use a DDR3 controller on the Skylake CPU, which means you can only have 16 gigs of RAM as opposed to 32 or 64. Especially if you're planning on using this as an editing PC, that might be quite limiting. And especially on the port side of things, I understand that it's meant to sort of push the industry to be more USB Type-C focused, but at the same time it's kind of like throwing all of your toys out of the pram just because you want a specific toy. So I feel like it just hurts the consumers, the people that are actually buying the laptops, more than it helps them. And I don't think that having an SD card slot and a single normal Type-C port a single normal Type A port would be the end of the world to have just on there as a sort of use case. So yeah, that's my thought on that one. So a couple of miscellaneous sort of tech of the year notes is that for me, first of all, the Corsair ML series fans are absolutely fantastic. I'm actually using one of them in my desk PC, and it's really nice to have a very high quality, quiet, obviously a high airflow fan, and it's just really impressive what they've managed to do. Of course, it is fairly expensive, so if you're willing to pay for that sort of premium product, then you do get a premium product, which is also quite nice. Another miscellaneous item here is the Samsung T3 SSD. It's a really nice USB Type-C SSD. It does a really good job of being ridiculously fast. Of course, if you manage to get a Type-C cable for it, which I feel is a little bit strange that it doesn't actually come with one, then obviously if you want to use it on your new MacBook Pro, then you can, and have ridiculously fast speeds on your external SSD. I actually still use a T1 SSD, and it's just a really useful, helpful thing to have around. So I do recommend that one too. So I think that kind of wraps up my thoughts on what's really stood out for me this year. Is there anything that you think I've missed and you really think should have been in the video? Feel free to let me know in the comments down below. And what are you looking forward to most next year? That's a very interesting one, as there's a lot of stuff coming. Otherwise, feel free to stick around for the plenty of just barrage of videos that are coming out in the first week of January. Obviously, have a great new year, as this is coming out the day before, I think like New Year's Eve or perhaps the day before that. So as I said, have a great new year. Hope you're having a good break as well if you're on a break. And yeah, other than that, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and as I said, let me know in the comments down below. If you don't already, feel free to follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Feel free to use the general and specific Amazon links and Overclockers UK link too. And other than that, yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you all probably next year as well as next week.